computer. Good morning, or actually good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Tatum Chicken Condo podcast. I need to look into the camera, which I don't do very often, but it doesn't matter. Today we're here with Joan Murray. She is hailing from the great state of Texas, which I know a lot of you guys, anybody from Texas, here's your buddy. She grew up with chickens, and she may be considering chickens. So she's gone from a Texas lifestyle to Atlanta, which to some people that's a big difference. So we wanted to talk to her and get her firsthand experience of what it was like to grow up with chickens, because we do know a lot of people on the group and that watch this podcast have children, and the reason they've got chickens in the first place is so the children would have a great experience, especially during this pandemic. So, Joanne, say hi. I'm sorry, I'm talking over you. Just introduce yourself again.
Hi, everybody.
Yay! So tell us what your experience was like growing up with chickens.
Well, it was quite by accident and much to the dismay of my mother. It was around Easter time, and I was a single digit age, an upper single digit age, maybe 9, somewhere in that neighborhood. And we lived in a small town in Texas called Granbury. And if you know where Granbury is, I love you out there, all you Texas folks. But I grew up in a small town called Granbury, and we lived outside of town just a little bit, but it was semi-rural. And one day Dad went to the feed store, and I can't remember what he went to the feed store for. I think maybe to get dog food or something, I'm not sure. And lo and behold, he comes back with a chicken egg crate full of baby chicks.
Oh my goodness.
And the baby chicks had been dunked in Easter egg dye. So there was pink ones and blue ones and green ones and purple ones. And he's like, "Oh, happy Easter, daughter." Meanwhile, my mother is over here going, "Damn it, Jim." So she was very upset with that, because she was like, later on she explained to me that she was thinking, well, okay, great, but these things are going to die. And so she was upset about that aspect of it. And that meant that was yet another thing that Mom was going to have to do, because probably I wasn't going to do it, or probably my dad wasn't going to do it.
Yeah. So
we set them up under a heat lamp initially when they were chicks in a little shed that we had. And then once they got a little bit older, and fortunately all of them but one survived their little chick time. But we had this little gated in area. It was made out of chain link, and it was just already there on the property. We were renting the property, and that was going to be their roost. So we set up a place for them to roost, and we set up a little shelter for them and everything like that. And whenever they graduated from the shed into this place, they were teenage chickens.
yeah,
They weren't adults, they weren't chickens anymore.
Pullets, yeah, I think it's pullets. They haven't done anything yet.
Right.
They can wear makeup, you know.
Exactly. They have an attitude, they don't do their homework.
Exactly.
And so we moved them into this little place where they roosted, and then I often made sure that they were able to come into our actual yard. We had a gated yard, and they would peck in the yard. And so we had, and whenever you get chicks in the way that I got them, you know, they were just surprise chicks. You have no idea what breed they are, absolutely no idea. And so what we ended up with was a Rhode Island red rooster, a Rhode Island red hen, several bantams. I don't know what their official name is, but the big white fluffy ones. We had a couple of hens of those.
Yeah.
And I think we had a rooster in the bantams as well. And everybody else was hens. And I think there was like a total of 8 that we had.
Oh, wow, okay.
And they were all different colors. I mean, not the Rhode Island Reds or the white ones, but the bantams were different colors and everything like that. And so we had quite a lot of crowing at my house. Little bitty crows from the bantam and great big crows from the Rhode Island Red.
But you got some good eggs too, though. Some good colored eggs. You got some good colored eggs too, though.
Absolutely. We had brown, blue, green, and white. We had all of them. And as I'm sure all of you know, the best eggs in the whole wide world are fresh out of the maker of the egg.
Yes.
So if mom or dad were going to be making Sunday breakfast, I always had to run out and get the eggs so that we could have plenty of eggs. And it was just, love them, love them.
That's a double clap. Well, awesome. So you think, well, do you have any great stories? Because apparently you loved it as a kid. So
yes. So the best story that I can think of, and my family still laughs about it to this day, is I had been sent out to the curb to get the Sunday paper. And we had this big dog house in the yard. And I heard quite a kerfluffle coming from the dog house. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, the rooster's in there hurting the hen. It was the Rhode Island Red couple. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's going to hurt her. And so I took this big Sunday paper, big thick Sunday paper, and I walked up to the dog house and went, and it was in a plastic bag, and I went, kabam, 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 on top of the dog house. And that rooster came out so fast. And so I'm like, oh, and I start running, and he's like, step, 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 step. So I'm running, and my mom comes to the back screen door, and when she sees what's going on, she is laughing her hiney off. And so every time I go by the back door, I'm like, Mama, run, 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 and come back again, let me in, run, 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 run. And my mother is just laughing. And so finally, like the fourth time around the yard, she opened up the screen door, and just as this door shut, here comes that.
First of all, that's the first time I've heard a rooster coming out of the doghouse. Somebody, the guard rooster. Although you did interrupt his me time with his girlfriend.
Some private couple time.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Well, with everybody being in quarantine right now, thanks for that story, by the way. That's
sure.
I love it. And sorry for all the dogs. The dogs thought it was great too. Our next door. What kind of benefits can you see chickens adding to your life? I know what benefits I've gotten from it. They're extremely relaxing. But what about you? Like, what are you thinking about when you pitch it to everybody about getting chickens in your backyard in an urban area now?
Well,
what are the benefits you're looking at?
I thought of it, I mean, looking back at it now that I'm a grown up, at least chronologically, I'll say, is that it really gave me a sense of responsibility as a kid, taking on chickens, because my parents were like, these are yours, you're going to have to do it, even though secretly they're like, okay, if she doesn't feed them, I guess we'll feed them. But I mean, they put that responsibility on me, and I really took it seriously. And because I was thinking these little baby things need my help, and being able to be responsible for them and getting to know a different animal other than a dog or a cat, or a gerbil or a fish or whatever, is, I think, really important, because lots of people don't realize, and those of you that have had chickens, I'm sure you are fully aware of this, but each chicken has its own personality. And it's so interesting to be able to see their little personalities come out as you get to know them and they get to know you. And matter of fact, there was the two big white chickens that we had loved my mother. And so if mom came out and sat on the back step, they would get up on the back step, and one would be under one arm and the other would be under the other arm, and they would talk to each other and talk to her, and they just loved her. They thought me and dad were okay, but they really loved my mother. But it's just really cool from that perspective, from a child's perspective, of having that responsibility, seeing something through from beginning to end, and you know, starting out as a baby and then raising them, and all of my chickens eventually died of natural causes.
Yeah.
And so, and then not to mention the egg factor, and how incredibly tasty and healthy, and hasn't been touched by anything other than the chicken. you
Yeah.
know, and hasn't been processed or anything like that. And you know that that egg is free range egg. So you know that that's what's going on. So I really think there's a big advantage to being able to do it. And I had the pleasure of being at Audra's house yesterday and meeting her chickens for the first time. And they were just so sweet. Walked into the backyard and they were like, "Hey, how are you? Okay, it's time to go roost now." And they ran away and went to roost.
Kill me. Just go to bed right in front of company. You don't even say anything. The two of them say goodnight.
But it was just so cool, and it just totally brought back those memories of when I was a kid and how much I enjoyed to have chickens. And now that I live in a semi-rural part, I live in the exurbs of Atlanta, I'm kind of thinking, maybe it's time to get back into the chicken business.
Yes, the more the merrier. Because I think the more we know, I don't know, there's a lot of people in the groups and people who watch that have a lot of experience. They grew up like you, they grew up with chickens, so they know what to expect. They know what they'll do. And then there's people like me who've only seen chickens in cartoons.
Right.
And
they don't all have Southern accents.
They don't.
Like Foghorn Leghorn.
Some of them do, though.
Some of them do, but not all of them.
I'm surprised that some of them do. But just, the learning, the learning curve was huge. But all of it was so enjoyable, and it's still just such a ride, where everybody, like you said, I've had dogs, I've had cats, I've had gerbils, I've had fish, I've had birds. Well, parakeets and parrots and stuff.
Right.
Like that. But these guys have to be the easiest pet I've ever had. Well, cats, it's sort of toss up.
Yeah, I get that.
The key to the house and tell them what the alarm code is, and they're fine.
Exactly.
But the chickens, today I was working in the yard and I heard there's those birds with the white stripe on their wings, the ones that are really loud and will chase you.
Yeah.
Well, they were chasing somebody through the trees and they're going crazy. And so I looked up because I'm like, what's going on? And there was a huge hawk they were chasing through the trees. And so I look around and counting my babies. And 3 of them already went in the coop. They were going in the coop while the birds were screaming.
Oh, wow.
The other 2 went under the bushes, and they were like deep under the bushes. And I went, oh, you guys are so smart. See, if you were relying on me, we'd be in trouble. But it's like, you guys are doing really good. So, but I don't pay attention. I would never pay attention to that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So they're a lot of fun. Well,
absolutely.
I appreciate your story. I appreciate you sharing that with us. And you have to let us know when you do get chickens. You have to send pictures so we can welcome a new chicken mama to the group.
Absolutely. And I'll be joining you if that's what ends up happening. I don't feel like I can right now because, I'm just a former chicken owner. But when I become a modern day chicken owner, then I might join the group.
We call them chicken tenders. I know that.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Taking over that name and copywriting it, but it's.
I think there needs to be T-shirts drawn up and that sort of thing.
Oh, I think so. Well, thank you, Joanne. And
you're welcome, Audra.
We'll talk to you next time.
All right. Bye, everybody.